Welcome back to Shadows Over Loathing. We're going to bring some fish eggs down to Rufus. I have 3 of them from last episode. I feel like it was a very productive episode. It went great. 3 pounds of fishman eggs. So that makes me just a little bit curious before I hand them over. Is each one of these a pound? I don't know. If he's looking for 3 of them, I have 3. I think that might be perfect. I might have actually found every intended one. So that's great. Sometimes I think the game gives you more options than you need. Like there's 5 locations, you need 3 of them. Maybe that was the case here too. I got them. Oh great. Let me just process these. And oh whoops, I misplaced a decimal. I only needed 0.3 pounds of eggs. Well, now we got plenty of this goop. You can keep the extra eggs. Oh, great, thank you. Hooray! You'll also need this, a municipal contraption. This odd-shaped tool of City of Porkham stamped on it, leading you to wonder exactly why Rufus had it. Take it to the river bridge. Why do I have that, or why would I want it? That'll take me to like a fishman lair, I guess? And now, we just slather you with this foul-smelling jelly. Come back and see me if you need it reapplied. So I have an effect so I would lose it if I go to sleep. Rufus's fish goo. Oh, you've been covered in some goo that Rufus assures you is necessary. It's minus everything. And the special rag, you suspect that this is just an ordinary rag, but you don't want to hurt Rufus's feelings by asking what's so special. Double hooray! Okay, so he's giving me the means to wipe it off without having to go to sleep, so I kind of do appreciate that, because it sucks a little bit to just be made weaker. Come on, not stoked on that. Slimy lichen in a broken fountain, stylish gel. It leaves the fountain cleaner, if not less broken. Wow, just look at it. You'll never be as cool as this slime. Why is it so stylish? What makes it stylish? Use the tool Rufus gave you. You wrench the box open, destroying the tool in the process. But now we can go raid like a fish den. Ooh, hobo code. The code reads, I'm hiding behind the next piling to the left. Come say hello. Not pillar, just piling. Oh, it sounds like it's time to make a new friend. Piling might be the word that the pillar goes into, or like that might be the piling. I'm not entirely sure. You look behind the bridge pile and find a hobo sitting there with a fishing pole, so not a typo, that is a real word. He wasn't even particularly hiding. Weird that you didn't see him before. Well, hi there, you must have seen my note on the other piling. My name's Walter. Hi, I'm Graeme. How are you living? Are living under this bridge? For the moment. I'll probably move on soon, because SIT students keep throwing weird rocks down here. I guess that was me. But it's protected from the rain, and the fishing is good, so it's a pretty nice spot to camp for a while. I honestly wonder if that dialogue would exist if I hadn't done the chemical option and come here and thrown a bunch of crap. What about the fishermen? Oh, those fellas with the glowing eyes. They were a bit leery of me at first, but I guess they decided I was harmless. Maybe all the raw fish I've been handling rubbed off on me? Makes sense, I guess. Ask him about hobo code first. Mostly fishing related ones, sure. Everyone should know the industrial chemicals dumping spot sign in particular. Oh yeah, I bet you get real weird fish here. I got one with 2 butts once. Do you mean tails? Nope. Ask him about something else. I could ask him about fishing. I guess I picked up a trick or 2. You looking for some pointers? Sure, that'd be great, so far as I've figured out that you hold on to the long, stiff part of the pole and dangle the sharp wire thing into the water. Well, there's a sentence that stopped being a double entendre real fast. Here, let's expand on that knowledge bit. So, the long, stiff pole part, very innuendo-y, and then it falls apart completely. You know when to fold your bait and when to hold it. So like poker? Better fishing results. That's kind of awesome. That's actually a dope perk. I wish I would have had it before last episode when I spent the entirety of the episode fishing. If you're thinking of moving anyway, there's a hobo camp on the outskirts of Ocean City. They could probably use someone with your fishing acumen. I just use regular tackle, but it still sounds like a pretty good deal. I'll head out there directly. Packs up his gear and heads off with a wave. A wise person said that fishing is not a good use of time, but that person probably didn't have as much spare time as you. Well, now I can test out my experts fishing and see what I get. Frosty flakes. It's like snow, but in flake form. Can you even imagine? And a little bit of meat. So, like, maybe I'm just going to get the same results, but a little bit of extra meat, like, each time, even if it's just 2 at a time. It still is, like, a little something extra. And there, we've caught everything. Yeah, there truly was not much to be found there. The big puddle, though, it's a nasty mud hole. Is a cloaca covered in mud worse than a regular cloaca? Well, there's one way to find out. Let me grab these first. An old pair of rubber boots has been discarded by this piling. You take them from the bridges pile and add them to your own. Rubber boots with rubber soles and extremely inconvenient rubber laces adds bounce to your step. That actually does sound horrible. Rubber laces sound like a real pain in the ass to deal with. That's a great little jig. Hell of a bouncy little waddle. We'll stick with that one for at least a little while. I like this more than the silly walking. This is a great addition. The variety of shoes that you can swap between, I'm a big fan. I thought the randomness of the silly walking was almost distracting. I like this. You emerge from that disgusting hole in a slightly less disgusting cave, although let's not be unclear here. The cave is very disgusting. Wet piles of eggs litter the uneven ground, and you hear a quiet, gurgly breathing sound from the other end of the cavern. Let's get Rufus his stupid pearl. Nasty eggs. It makes me feel like Gollum, just wandering around in these dank, gross little things and being like, nasty eggs. Eggses, even. Disgusting eggs. Alright, Shadow Rift first, and then we'll deal with the horrible fish monster. Oh god, I'm going to drown. Well, let me come back down with a little bit of anticipation that that's going to happen. I see bubbles blurbling up from things. Maybe I just will drown. I guess I don't need to breathe in here. Well, I can't believe how much that ended up not mattering at all. That's quite strange, isn't it? Is there anything to build towards here other than just swimming through? A throbbing ring of negative energy around a chalice-shaped object. Might be a chalice. You fumble around with the wet pliers and somehow manage to clumsily close the portal without dropping them. 20 experience. I guess the oxygen thing is just a gag, because we are a fish person, so it doesn't really matter. We're just all set. I don't see anything else down here that makes sense to, like, need to explore. Swim back to reality. That was somehow all we actually had to do there. That was quite simple. This guy's a little bit intimidating, though, isn't he? Revolting eggs. Well, this is almost definitely the fish mother. If I were to guess, if I were to, just how I'm looking at them here, that seems most likely, yes. Approach. You hear a smooth, melodious voice speaking directly into your mind. You are a cunning and wily human to have bypassed the defenses of this place. Thanks. Don't ask how I did it. I already know. Fear not. The eggs I give my children to take care of are largely non-viable. It helps keep them out of trouble if they think they have responsibilities. Why have you sought out this audience with me, human? I don't entirely remember. The pearl? Ask politely for a pearl? The pearl? Oh, so you're a treasure hunter, are you? You have killed 9 of my children. Yes, I counted. Have the further temerity to trick your way into my lair in pursuit of material wealth? It's not like that, although more or less it is, yep. Your words are the ashes of one whose pants are aflame. So, like, liar, liar, pants on fire? I will grant you no such boon. Nuts. Tried our best. Then I suppose we will have no choice but to fight. Who cares how many of your children I've killed? Probably should have brought something other than the dough baby in, because they do not have a lot to contribute. I'm going to blast away all of your stats, because I do not want to deal with any of that. Healing the children and sleaze damage dealt to me. So yeah, there's quite a bit going on there, and I am glad to be rid of it. 3 to 5 different enemies. There is quite a few of them here, but I'm probably better off kind of focus firing a little bit. Especially, yeah, that's a stench. Stench damage there. You look hard to click on. Oh, but you are disposable. Oh, but I only have the tiny bit of AP left, and so I think I should probably, when I have it, spend it in that way. Nope. Nope, I should have focused on killing one of them. That was a mistake. I will surrender here and now. You've lost. The fish mother glares at you imperiously as you haul your carcass back to its feet. Did you think me defenseless, human? You are a fool. Okay, geez, you don't have to rub it in. You realize that winning is better than losing, and that you resolve to do better in the future. Trying again. Losing that fight filled you with determination, and what is that, an Undertale reference? And what you've determined is that in the future, you should try winning fights instead of losing them. Maybe not directly a reference, but it ties in for sure. I already have a failure thing. Maybe I've slept since then and I lost it, and so that this is a new one now. Which of these do I think I need the least? Something that adds, like, stench resistance would go a long way. See, that has a lot of armors, but none of them are that great. None of those are that great. The charm? Sleaze? No, that's the wrong one. Stench. So I'll sacrifice a little bit of weapon attacks for that. And, like, maybe I could think about chugging a potion. My booze is good. The food is not really contributing here. So I will swap out food. Elemental armor. It was stench, right? It was stench. Oh, that's a little bit of everything. Quite strong. The false cheese. Could I have given that to the mouse? I don't even think I could have. And an accessory. No. The food. The wedge of stinky cheese minus the cheese. So, you know, if it's false cheese, then I'm guessing that's why the mouse wouldn't have wanted it. It's not the strongest, but I'll take it. You eat the false cheese. You wish you had some non-alcoholic wine to go with it. False cheese, real odor. As though you've just played a round of sewer golf, you're dealing with the effects of a foul-smelling wedge. It's like weirdly not that clever. The wedge and wedge, whatever, good enough. They go together. Forget about it. Don't think too hard. The fish mother's eye is glowing there, but not during the actual fight, I think. Try my patience, human. So, with all of that stench armor, I should be, like, much better off, I think. Again, I probably should have swapped out to a different helper. That probably would have gone a long way. Once per fight, it makes the most sense to lower everything from the fish mother. I think I should just try and kill something. Who's going to deal the most damage? 11 and reduce mysticality. I really like my mysticality. I would prefer to keep it. And quite a bit. So this one, yeah, will not be tolerated. Allow me to do away with that one. And who's most threatening otherwise? Everyone's attacking Molly? Are all of them? Wow, you guys really picked your target, didn't you? Rude. Well, you're hard to click on, so I'm just gonna get rid of you. That's my reasoning. Wait, I still get an attack with no AP? Have I done that wrong every single time? I thought that using the scoop costs an AP. I think I've done that wrong 1,000 different times. There may have been a time where I was aware, and I just screwed up ever since. The way that the character kind of bugs out when you do all those attacks like that is kind of ridiculous. I could reduce Moxie. Okay, you still have a bit of Moxie, so sure, let's lower your stats as much down to nothing as possible. Raise all my elemental armors. I can also raise all of yours, but you're kind of toast anyways, or you will be. Yeah, let's raise your armors. This battle's going well enough. I should be fine, but I might as well try and look out for my number one up here. We get along great. Big fan. Big friends. Ooh, yeah, that got me just over. There we go. That was a big fight. You won. Hopefully that won't be off a protracted human-fishman war or anything. Won't set off. A fisherman's pearl. The pearl isn't even shiny. Not even close, really. It's quite funky. Let me consult my books. There's a few of these, like maybe that I would wish to do. The reality shift will add an additional 2 armor of every element. Pretty useful. I could be making better use of something like that in big fights. So, let me learn that one. You read the entire book from the first page to the last. You read every word of every sentence of every paragraph of every chapter. Reality shift has been upgraded. When you're done, you throw the book away because now that you've really and truly read it, you'll never need to read it again because you definitely already read it. I think that was the one where the first time around it was like, you skimmed it and you more or less got the gist, whatever, good enough. The handkerchief kind of looks cool. I liked wearing the handkerchief, but I'll swap back. I think everything else is exactly as I had left it. Though, there's a lot down here, and there's even like angler fishmen going on. They have their the things going on there. A teeming mass of fishmen. This is apparently where the fish mother keeps most of her young. Go fishing. Fighting. Actually. Just to clarify what you're truly doing here. Here we go. They are sleaze. None of them are even stench. So it almost doesn't even matter that I took off the thing that I had. But I will raise all of my elemental armors. I think that will be important. I'll try and do that for Molly next time, assuming she's lived, hoping she's lived. Well, some of you were quite hurt, and you're a healer. So I'd rather not deal with your business. And who's like strongest? There's a few of them that are like quite strong. So you're also going to get hypnotized. And you're going to get scooped. Just pretty straight up. Pretty straightforward solution to that one. This is going well. I don't even need to armor up Molly the way I thought I would need to. Great. The fish mother's young numbers slyly fewer thanks to your efforts. Probably meant to be slightly. Fewer is better. Oh, is this one of those ones where you can kind of keep just doing it infinitely? I'm kind of questioning that that's what I'm dealing with here. So like maybe I should not just. I'll do a couple. I'll do a handful for sure. Oh, damn you and your 8 health being just barely. But if I do that, this is actually, that's a good way to whittle things down to somewhere that I'm much more able to deal with. Not quite. Whatever, I'll give myself elemental armor. Alright, I have a better system this time around. Sick. Andre's looking good. I'll do like at least 3 of these. How much do you do here? 9 and reducing muscle. So it's really not very strong at all, is it? You're quite weak. And from there, it almost doesn't even matter what I do. Because if I could knock out 3/4 of them, pretty much safe. I think this is probably one of the infinite fights. Fishman throwing spear. If you were smaller, this would be a normal spear. If you were bigger, it would be a dart. At your current size, it's kind of a javelin, I guess. It's not. Doesn't really tell us much of anything. You know what? We've gotten the pearl. That seems like that was the important part, so we might as well just go follow up with that. You turn a corner and encounter a very weird sight. And yes, I'm aware that your tolerance for things being weird is already pretty high at this point. There are 3 shadows here, this time in the shape of little people. They seem to be groveling and praying and twitching for a 4th little shadow figure, which is basically the same except it has horns and a little pitchfork like a cartoon devil. Is this meant to be some kind of shadow mimicry and or mockery of human religions? Am I maybe overthinking this? Yeah, there's probably no need to be super analytical. Wow, they're doing crazy little twitchy dances there. And this guy's having a hell of a time. He intends to stab Andre the dough baby. That's very devilish. Honestly, very in character. Because that's just truly terrible. horrific that you would do such a thing. Oh, not quite, hey? Let's chisel some of them down there. It is kind of fun trying to, like, fully maximize. Nah, I won't let you deal anything to my poor little baby boy. Excellent. You won. There will be no incomprehensible baby satire on your watch. Yeah, I gotta lay down the law somewhere. That's where I'm drawing the line here. Hello again. What should I do with extra fishman eggs? I never did ask that. Well, I can cook them for you. A pinch of lye and some muriatic acid, and they're totally edible. I don't want to know how you know that. He whips the glistening eggs together with some chemicals and fries them over a Bunsen burner for you. Ever been to the ocean at low tide? Imagine frying that smell. I like the smell of the ocean. Scrambled eggs, sure. It's not appetizing the way they just described it. You can't really scramble this kind of egg, but Rufus did his best. Gives you 5 HP regen per round. Pretty good. And I got 2 of those, actually, because I had the spares. And I got the pearl. Don't ask me for details. That gross, huh? No questions. Wow, that pearl really is a beaut. I'm going to have to go into the hardcore analysis mode for a while. I'll give you a call when I've figured out the next step of my plan. I don't know how you plan to call me, so maybe I just check back in right away. It's probably like a next day sort of thing. Did we go to the robot battle arena? I don't think we did. Ask Rufus about it. What's this all about? That's my robot battle arena? Why? Do you have a robot battle arena? The fact that you even asked that question makes me think you'd never understand the answer. How many robots are in there? They're capable of self-assembly and replication, so it's hard to say, and it's also critical that you never accidentally leave the door open. Well, gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this is another instance of infinite battling. But that's just gonna come up relatively frequently. There's quite a few of those. That is an insane amount of bleeding damage. I risk dying, I think, from it. Maybe not quite, but it's gonna be on a line. Be pretty dangerous. I'll take out as much of everything as I can, which apparently is going to be everything. Alright, you successfully disassemble some of Rufus's self-assembling robots. Bunch of hardware, robot fuel. This is a highly distilled petroleum derivative designed to power mechanical engines. But you would almost certainly drink it even if I tried to explain to you that you shouldn't. Makes you act earlier. They'll get over it. Maybe I have had that once before, because the acting earlier thing stands out to me for sure. God, the saws, the bleeding, the ray gun, junk throwing, immune to bleeding and poison. He's a boxing robot and a ray gun. Deals physical. Deals physical? Who's causing the bleeding? I don't even really understand how that's coming into play here. But they sure are fun to beat up. Slab of heat-resistant plating. Stainless steel on one side and asbestos on the other. Increase target's hot armor by 5. The fact that they have such low health, very convenient. Makes things very easy. But the stench damage that I do to everyone, this is the easiest, best grinding option in the game by kind of a mile. We'll see if they get more difficult. Like it's, I think they zapped my AP there, which is like, that could potentially be devastating if they had any health at all, any reasonable amount of health with which to defend themselves. Right now, I just kind of have the perfect cycle. Okay, that's a lot of things potentially able to deal a lot of damage at once. Fighting a room full of 5 things gets a little sketchy. The amount of bleed, damage, AP that they can take away from you. And yet it doesn't matter at all. That is... You can get so much experience that way, it's kind of stupid. What else? I can't read this book still, right? I never can, never will sort of thing. How about the mind melt? You've read this weird book once, but you get the feeling you'd understand it better if you tried again. You read the book a second time and pick up a few new weird details. You still don't understand most of it though. Your subconscious must just be a bad writer. It's been upgraded. You decided you've had enough and melt the book with your mind. That's one way to be done with it. Hurt 'em all, give Sleaze armor. The world's sleaziest jokes culled from the world's sleaziest toilet stalls. If you can stomach these, there won't be much left in heaven or earth that could scandalize you. Be shocked. And Pitt the Elder said, "Why, under the wig of a wig, my dear." Huh? Wait? Oh no, that's disgusting. I can't remember Pitt the Elder. I go to a monthly trivia night, and we hosted one evening, and my buddy submitted a question that had to do with Pitt the Elder, and I forget what it was. Heard 'em all. This was a perk. It takes a lot to make you blush. Extra sleeves armor. There's still a lot of filth to wade through here. Oh, okay, I honestly didn't expect it to upgrade further. I will do so. And she said, "Thank you, but wherever did you find a can opener at this time of night?" Oh, that's terrible. You're embarrassed to admit you laughed. I don't have a clue. Not right now. I would be a ways away from this one as well. How far do I push those? Because I can keep grinding that out there and get a lot. It's kind of nice to have default baked-in armor at this point. It's funny I don't have spooky armor when my character is specifically haunted. You would think that would have factored in some way, shape, or form. I should check. Mind Melt. Deal 4 damage and heal me. So that definitely has its place. It's like relatively good. It's kind of nuts how much damage they end up doing right off the bat, but not good enough. Make them look like chumps. I'm gonna get all their fuel, and then I could go sell all that if I wanted. This is infinite money and experience. And I feel like there was things like in West of Loathing when you would fight the cows that you would exhaust them eventually, and then you would have to like wait till the next day. So I'm kind of unclear if that's what's happening here. It doesn't seem like it though. That's dicey. Okay. It's right on a line every time, and never quite goes far enough. All right, this is like my last one, and then or at least, you know what? I'm gonna basically do it until I can max out those books, or depending how high the experience threshold goes. If it suddenly jumps to 300, I'm probably not gonna max it out. But if I do that just enough times, then I can go back to reading my books and expand my mind alongside everything else I'm busy expanding today, I guess. I will read the sleazy jokes. Then she sent it back to the kitchen and said, "I'll have it without the lettuce." Yikes, you wouldn't want to admit you understood that one. Still a lot of filth. Oh my god, it really does keep going. That's the cat all right, but it ain't the cream. Revolting. How could they print that? And the cold armor one too? How far do I push this? Having 5. 2 more. I'll do enough to get my cold armor up to 2 more. And for whatever reason, it feels more appropriate to do this towards the back of an end of an episode than at the front. Do some questing things. And then if people are bored to tears by what I'm doing right here, right now is probably a relatively fair time to tap out. You can, if you don't want to see me fight the same combination of enemies. Oh no, I've made it harder on myself. But honestly, of all the battles to screw up in, that was the one to do so, because that didn't end up mattering at all. Yeah, I'll give people the out. I'll try not to squeeze anything else too important into this episode. This is totally just me grinding and leveling up some very basic stats. Andre, I don't even know what level at this point. Is the max HP a way of like identifying that? No, they're relatively disconnected. Yeah, I don't actually know what level he's at. I'm gonna swap out Dark Rick. Dark Rick can get some extra experience here. But, you know, I have that sugar to return. There's obviously 1,000 different things to do in any given moment in this game. So yeah. This is, have I stretched it far enough? Have I stated enough times what I plan to do here and what I don't plan to do here? I've left it explicit and vague at the same time, just enough to entice the senses and leave the viewer questioning what I may do next, but also Not at all. Super, super obvious what I'm going to do next. Hey, I didn't actually even get anything out of that one, other than experience. Obviously, I got experience, but maybe I'm rounding things out a little bit. Another story of a man freezing to death in Sub-Zero West, and another conclusion in which the narrator rejects the premise. I would never go somewhere cold, and they write, I would never put myself in that position. Great. 50 experience. Wait, it must have been more than that, because I have 50. It was telling me that's what I have, 70. So, literally one more of these, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised you can upgrade them that many times. That truly does feel excessive. Like, I'm down for having base level stats that are just ready to go at all times. Oh, exactly 20. That's perfect. There's so many checks of your armors and things, and then it becomes a matter of swapping out all your gear, and if I'm just kind of protected against most of them offhand, makes my life a lot easier. Freezing, Sub-Zero, conclusion, I would never, boom, bam, boom. I can't believe that it lets you upgrade that many times. Well, that does make me assume that there will be other books elsewhere in this game that apply to other things. Oh, I'm adding hot armor every time. Right, why did I think I was adding cold every time? That's ridiculous. I don't know how I didn't notice that that's how I was separating things out. Yeah, hopefully I find other books and I can just come back here and grind that out like crazy, and I'll just be all set. This, I guess, will end up falling on a slightly shorter end of the episode length. And so you know what? I'll do like 5 more, and I'll have a nice heaping helping of experience for whatever point in time that something comes up where I need to have experience to spend. I might as well do that here and now. So yeah, I think that'll just give me nice options. Someday I'll find a book or have a new skill or something, and then I'll be ready to go. Or if I just want to continue to upgrade elemental experiences, and not the ones that I even thought I was upgrading, then I have that option as well. And I'll have 8 million robot parts to sell for a heck of a lot of meat. Here's one weird thing that Rufus never really explained to us. If these are self-reassembling robots, then, and every time I fight them, I'm taking pieces of them. I'm taking anarchist hardware and these different contraptions and things along with me, the robot oil and things. It seems like I'm removing the total amount of materials available in this room, and the more so I do that, I should be chipping away at them. They should have less and less to rebuild themselves out of, to a point that I should at some point tip over into no longer having robots available left to fight. I can appreciate, as ridiculously sci-fi as it is, robots that are smart enough to infinitely rebuild themselves, but that assumes a consistent quantity of matter being available to their clumsy robot hands. They're wearing gloves. I'm guessing robots would have very fine motor skills and articulation, especially at SIT, where this Institute of Technology has programmed them to have these specific range of capabilities and task-oriented variety of options. And then you put gloves on them? What are they going to do with big clunky mitts? Why would you do that to these poor robots? Very inconsiderate of their ability to, like, wipe their butts. I don't know, there's all sorts of things that it would make it harder for them to do. That was probably more than 5. It absolutely was more than 5. Well, there you have it, guys. Episode title suggestions, please. And I need some water. That's like, there's a real chance I didn't take a break that episode in narrating, which I don't typically do. I edit it to be that way, and I cut out the dead air where I take a minute, collect my thoughts, have some water, what have you. There's a very real chance I just talked for over half an hour, and I can feel it. So, I'll see you guys all again soon.